I can promise you that I will make you paint well. Give it a try.
Embarrassing to say that my uncle is cooler than I am and he has a more hectic social life than I do.
It may not be true. I mean, advertising, everything can be a perception.
Why do you call yourself an art evangelist?
Not chairs, chairs. I'm talking this painting, things that are kept. Art helps you adapt to new things, and it will adapt you to listen to newer people, newer voices, newer ideas. Art should be discussed at homes. We get a better quality of people.
One must evolve and grow in life. And I think you are the poster child for that. How to get with the times, how to work with the Gen Z. We are in a time of reels, 40-second attention span of a goldfish. How does one train students or people to cut through the noise and still stay true to their creativity?
That is why I do funny things on Instagram. Today is your lucky day. What will anybody teach anyone today? Job of a mentor should be to spark curiosity and be gentle, not be an. The benchmark of great health, is.
We will now cut this part.
No, do not cut this part.
Hello and welcome to the Shezzi M Show. This is a podcast that highlights the vagaries of 21st century living and how to hack it. I am your friendly neighborhood Shezzi, and it is a very special day for me because it's not every day that I get to interview my own uncle. Not just randomly ऐसा पहचान दिखाने के लिए I have invited him, but he's had a tremendously illustrious career that began as a student of art. He's gone on to hold very senior roles in some really interesting agencies like Lolintas or Mullen Lolintas now, J. Walter Thompson. He's gone ahead and set up his own agency called Skill Mill India. Currently, he serves as a director at the JJ School of Arts, Architecture and Design Foundation. This is one of India's oldest art institutions. He is an institution unto himself. I have grown up hearing conversations around design language, around art. He calls himself an art evangelist. I call him garden variety wackadoodle, and that's exactly where I get my cuckoo-ness from. That I think is a good enough introduction. Hello and welcome, Zahir Mirza.
That's cuckoo enough. What cuckoo should I do?
Hi.
Hi.
How are you?
Good. And this is the most serious conversation I've ever had with you.
Yes, I think so,
We shall not be serious.
No, certainly not. In fact, what I'm going to do is I'm going to break from tradition and I'm going to get very comfortable.
You didn't say that art influencer bit, yeah?
No, I'm so sorry. Okay.
Instagrammer.
But jokes apart, and I must share this. The reality is that I keep maintaining to everybody how one must evolve and grow in life. And I think you are the poster child for that. How to get with the times, how to work with the Gen Z, and how to be Gen Z-like, and how to corner the game that they are into, which is being an influencer on Instagram. I think you really managed to do that.
So let me tell you how that happened before we get on to the other things. So when you become a teacher, and which after being in advertising, I realized कि dandruff problem कम नहीं हुआ. Cars 30 years back used to meander on hilly roads, and they're still meandering. Just the technology has changed. The narrative hasn't changed much.
Right.
But now advertising really has changed because Gen Z, Gen Alpha are buying things through review. Then I said, let's become a teacher. When I became a teacher, I realized their attention span. And when I realized the attention span is so low, I said, that is the place where they will learn. Instagram or social media. And they need a small sample, like how they review a product. They need a review of knowledge. And once they get that review, they will rabbit hole into that knowledge. And that's how I realized. And all this, actually, I learned from young people. So they were my teachers, rather. I was a learner. So that's how it happened.
I think that's fabulous. So you've basically adapted the curriculum to suit the times.
Yes. And I feel that every teacher should not say, oh, the social media device, the addiction, and all that. That's the reality. How do you use it for knowledge? How do you use it for? It's like a knife. Knife can murder someone, or it can chop vegetables and carve nice sculptures. So how you use it is
I like how you went straight for knife. I was going to go double-edged sword, but yeah, that works just as well.
knife respect.
But of course.
Ah.
No, but you did mention how advertising back in the day was a certain way. Advertising now, brand consulting now has undergone a rapid change. Walk us through. What does it look like? What does the landscape look like as we go over the decades?
When I joined advertising, there was a broadcaster, and people would listen to the broadcaster.
Right.
Today, you are a broadcaster. I am a broadcaster. We both have our own channels.
Yes.
So that's how it has changed. Back in the days, 1 lakh or 2 lakh subscription for a newspaper was good enough.
Yeah.
Today, we are close to having that, each one of us. So, and we are talking of influencers having millions of subscribers. More than that, each one of them has separate communities. We are part of 6 to 7 communities, right? So that has changed, and that itself has changed the narrative of advertising. And wo lux lagane se you will become a film star, that ship has sailed.
Yeah, the audience is a little bit more discerning than that now.
Now people are saying, okay, let me check out this product. Let me see what it does to my skin.
Yes.
And then let me see. So, and look, distribution has changed. How products are distributed has changed tremendously. So you can be in Kakinada and you can have a successful product, and you can be distributing it across India. It's happening. It is happening. It's not like it's not happening. So that's how it has changed tremendously, and I love it.
And people do you think that brands have started narrating their stories differently now as a consequence also?
They have no choice. They have to be part of communities. They have to talk to influencers. And the influencers do not do becha bachi. Ye khao or ye sardi. That they say, they just, it's become more subtle. And I feel that the Gen Z, Gen Alpha and all that do not like loud selling.
Is that right? Gen Z, Gen Alpha? We would love to know. Do
Yes,
drop
I
some
think so.
comments.
I think so. I went for a Dua Lipa concert, and I wanted to know what Billie Eilish sings and all that. And have you heard Dua Lipa's podcast? Man, I went for a concert, I fell in love with her, of course.
Of course you did.
Because she said, Shezzi, he told that tonight is about us, you and I, and mere ko to pyar ho gaya.
It's embarrassing to say that my uncle is cooler than I am and he has a more hectic social life than I do. But yeah, go on. I'm listening.
No, it may not be true. I mean, advertising, everything can be a perception.
Fair point. But all of reality is an act of perception.
So I was telling you about Billie Eilish or Dua Lipa and all that. When you listen to their songs, people like us, older people, fogies like us will say, "Kya hai ye?" Ye kya hai? And all that. But when you listen to them, it's a different story. They have great opinions, great point of view, and that is true to quite a few of this generation. You just have to connect with them. I feel that there is definitely a disconnect between our generation and theirs.
And do you think art can foster or be the bridge of that connection? Because I mean, hey, you're listening to Dua Lipa. I'm stunned. So do you think art can serve as a bridge?
Art is the only bridge, because what art does is art if you're a good practitioner of art and you understand art and you are into art, then you are into openness because you're experimenting with new things. You're learning new things. Every single day, new materials. Today, video is a form of art, which I am practicing.
Right.
Broadcast is the new gallery.
Yes.
Your social media is your new gallery. So art helps you adapt to new things, and it will adapt you to listen to newer people, newer voices, newer ideas.
Why do you call yourself an art evangelist?
We learn to express through visuals. We learn to express through art. We learn to express through our bodies. We learn to express through our emotions. But as we get textual in our education, all these books and all that, and also the kind of education we get, we stop practicing art. Whereas if we use art as the base and learn other things through art, it will help us better. Look at your phone today.
I'm trying not to.
No, but when you open your screen, you have icons.
Right.
You have icon. What is that? You're reading through art, isn't it?
Yes, beautiful. Yes.
Yes, and look at the moment you open a screen, there is a screen say, iOS just changed its interface into something called glass. That itself is an artistic intervention. So everywhere we have artistic intervention, and to understand that, we need to know art. Second is, we constantly hear about this word optics, right?
Yeah.
It's a buzzword. Yeah, media people like you use optics. Doesn't that need aesthetics? The way we speak, we need aesthetics. If our politicians were trained in aesthetics, if our leaders were trained in aesthetics, if our role models were trained in aesthetics, we would have had a better society, and we need to do that.
So you're saying that more artists should be in positions of leadership for the world to be a better place?
Not artists. More people in leadership should understand art, and art should be really an important part of our lives. For example, you go to Copenhagen. I must tell you this. I was in a cab in Prague. So here, the cab driver was telling me, this is Baroque period architecture. This is neo-Gothic and all that. Now I was fascinated, and I could see he could hold a conversation with me, and he was so different. It's 25 years, and I have not forgotten him.
Yeah.
Right? Similarly, once, almost 40 years back, I was traveling in a bus, and I was a student in art school, and we had to do 100 sketches, those days. We had to submit 100 sketches a week. So I was sketching in a bus.
A week?
Oh, sometimes a day.
We're going to talk about that. Continue with your story.
So most of my sketches were people sleeping, because I would be sketching in the night and they were sleeping in the railway station. Or once I was taking a bus from if you know Mumbai, from Kafpare to Mahim, and I was sketching, and that bus driver, this is 40 years back, was speaking to me in Marathi, and the conductor, and he said, Vincent van Gogh did this in his life, and I actually wanted to be an artist and all that.
Wow.
And that conversation, 40 years, and I have not forgotten. It's so fresh.
Yeah.
So these things are extremely important. We send our children to art classes.
Correct.
And I think sometimes that is a mistake. We should practice art with them. We should take them. How many parents? A lot of parents send their children to art classes.
Correct.
Sunday art class, art teacher, and all that. How many families go to an art gallery and say, hey, or how many families go to a film on an artist? How many art galleries are there in each city to take your child? How many movies on art are available for your child to understand? They do not have to join art school.
So, I have to, as a parent to a toddler, I must offer you some fresh perspective. We send children to art school because it is an opportunity for us to catch 2 hours or 3 hours of break. Matlab 1 hour of class plus go, drop them, come back. I get to have a little bit of a breather. That's exactly, unfortunately, how art is being consumed or perceived in today's day and age. In fact, if somebody were to look into a career in applied arts, they would always have these anxieties or concerns around career path, money, stability. What would you say to those people?
Would you do the same to a maths class? Would the same? No, you would not say, I send my child to a maths class or a science class or whatever, because I want to keep them away from home and so I can catch some sleep. No, you wouldn't say that. We do that with art because हमने नहीं किया है ना. We have not gone through it. In fact, that's the mistake we are making. Because look, today, I know I always crack a joke. AI has come into our life.
I'm going to get to AI in a bit.
Yes.
But yeah.
So I have written a line. Says, I wanted AI to chop onions so that I could do art. But the opposite
The
is happening.
opposite is happening.
Today, you want a poster for your podcast. You can go to Canva or someplace. And so art has been democratized. But what has not happened is creating. The art of creating, of making. And what does creation help? It makes you an innovative thinker. The future will need innovation. The future will need creativity. We are sending school because for skill. Now, this is where I will come. This is the point I want to make. Skill and thought are two different parts.
Yes.
Most of parents send children to art school or art classes and think, because they are thinking only of skill. I am looking at it as a thought generation exercise.
Beautiful.
So that is the difference. And that's why there has to be some amount of, in fact, it should be in a public policy to add art into, and not every art teacher should, not anybody should become an art teacher. उसके लिए भी पहले बात है ना, the worst people, and this I have to say, and this is across not only art, and the people who don't want to do anything else become become teachers, and उसमें the people who don't want to practice art become art teachers.
You realize you're an art teacher and I'm a yoga teacher, right? Just
Yes.
putting this out there.
because times they are changing. Bob Dylan.
Yes, times they are changing.
Yeah. So times they are changing. This is what is happening. You will be a different yoga teacher because you were a CA or you are still CS, RJ,
A radio personality.
writer, personality.
Hair flick,
Yeah.
movement.
Yeah.
I was popular, okay?
Huh? Now this is a family show
Of course it is. But
where
I
we'll
was
pat
not,
each other's back.
I was not half as popular as this man over here. And
No, but jokes apart,
yeah.
we will be different because we have had experience of other aspects. You will keep hearing in education multidisciplinary. And as we are going forward, as Abhi deep see, LLMs are learning human emotions, deep seek and multiple. If you keep reading and they are just getting better.
Yeah. Yeah.
Only the vakada thinkers, the crooked thinkers.
Vakada is a Marathi word. Vakada means hatke, crooked.
Yeah, the crooked thinkers or the skewed. If
Out of the box thinkers.
yeah, but out of the box is a cliche I won't use.
I know. I just said it to trigger you. Like I do Majnu Bhai things to trigger you.
Yes.
And I'll give you the Majnu Bhai reference. I like to like rile him up and just randomly I will say, मेरे को Majnu Bhai का painting बहुत अच्छा लगता है. His face, he's just like
No, that is not the truth. I'll tell you the truth. She's just no. We went for an art show, and then she saw a painting which I loved. I will not tell the painter because it's so unfair to the painter.
No, also
and
because he loved.
And then she said, "But uncle, this is like Majnu Bhai." And I said, "This is my niece, and I'm trying to teach the world art, and this is my niece." Bakwas. It was bakwas.
He didn't sleep for 4 nights after that. He kept sending me hate messages and passive aggressive messages. I had 2 of my students over there and you said all of that. I said, you realize I said it just to irritate you, right? No, but I hear your point about teachers teaching from their lived experience. And their lived experience should be diverse, so their worldview and their perspectives are so broadened that they're able to bring that to. So I get where you're coming from. And now that we have brought up the subject of teachers, and you, I know, are so beloved with your students at JJ also, and he's called Guru Z, by the way, which I thought was very darling. What have you learnt from your students, is what I want to know.
I keep learning every single day. In fact, what I'm wearing, I have to check with some of my students whether it's okay. And then only if they get an approval, I am on your podcast. Otherwise, they say you dress like an old man. And I like that, I like that. And each teacher should actually, and this is with students of different age. They have a good point of view. The point is, we are... this whole teaching business है ना, ये stage on the stage, sage on the stage, sorry, that oh हम गुरुजन हैं, तुम वो that. So some guy in Harvard used this word. It's time for teachers to move from sage on the stage to guide by the side.
I'm beautiful.
Yeah, and I it's not mine, but I thought it was brilliant. And I said कि ये जो है, this point is what every teacher should be, and this they'll understand. That is why I was on Instagram.
Yes.
That is why I do funny things on Instagram, because they say, okay, I'll talk to this guy. So, 99% of the teachers say, what is this social media? I am not on social media. What is this young people, they are on social media. But वो acting करके. Well, that's no different from what our the generation older to us used to say, "Arey, you all are watching TV only. Yeah. We used to read books and newspapers. You all are not." So ये जो है ये तो चलता रहेगा.
I agree with you completely. In fact, I really know for a fact that if I had a teacher like you, I would have probably absorbed, imbibed, and lived through those teachings far better than the system. And I think
it's not about me. It's about just. It's never about. So it's like you have to understand your audience. Yes. You are. Oh.
It's fine. Don't
there
worry
goes
about
the podcast. Oh. Okay. So, hey, you have to understand your audience. You have been in RJ. Our audience is changing.
Yes.
Abhi kya hai, when any student talks to me, I just flex, in their language. And I say, your video has 7 million views.
Oh, God.
Mine has. So listen to me. And it's fun.
Yeah, fair enough.
you know.
Yeah, it's totally fun. And I get what
Yeah,
you're
yeah,
saying.
yeah. And then they say, yeah, okay. So I have I have passed their test.
Yes.
Their test is there.
Meeting your audience where they're at. I think.
Absolutely, absolutely. So I do design thinking. So I went to a panwala shop and I did a small reel on design thinking.
Right.
So you'll be shocked that 5 students got back to me and said, I saw this design thinking idea, and they did their own research, which is possible today. But you have to give them that thing through a normal scene you see on the street, and they'll imbibe, they'll rabbit hole into what they are interested in. The job of a teacher, of an elder, of a mentor, in fact, teacher ko nikali do, one should not be, a job of a mentor should be to spark curiosity.
City. Beautiful. Yeah. I've heard this from you, so I was.
Yes, only curiosity. That's my only job. What will anybody teach anyone today when everything is available?
Yes.
The best teacher from Harvard can teach you today because it's his or her knowledge is available.
Correct.
And you can talk to any student from across the world.
Right.
It's not that you are sitting in and you can be in Sangli, Satara, Igatpuri, wherever you are, and you can be speaking to Michigan, Seattle, Copenhagen, Moscow, Stalin, wherever.
Yeah.
So these are beautiful times. The teacher's job is to be conversationalist, curiosity creator, and be gentle, not be an
Dictatorial. I know what words are coming out of your mouth. Don't say it.
you got the word. Bleep.
So, if I were to tell me one thing, if I were to present a case to the leaders of today or top leadership and management today to say that it is absolutely vital it's now too late and it's vital to introduce art into your life to further your emotional education and maybe turn up better and be better humans and leaders, what would be the case I would present? Discuss.
ये हाथ मुझे दे दे ठाकुर, ये हाथ मुझे दे दे. Hands.
Yes.
Every senior leader, every senior manager should take time off and work with their hands. I will help, you will help.
Let's set up a workshop, I say.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
This is a plug,
Yes.
but it's a damn good plug.
It's a plug of something that hasn't even been thought of.
No,
but you will definitely look
but
into
we
it.
should do it.
Yeah. Yeah.
Seriously.
Hands का भी आप clarify कर दीजिए, like use clay.
No,
modeling and things like that.
I'm coming
okay.
to that. So,
Sorry.
stop
Sorry, yeah. Okay, go.
cutting me.
I'm sorry. My bad.
Okay, it's your show. Sorry.
Yeah,
Okay, so one should use their hands. Senior leader. I'm talking of managing directors. I'm talking of heads of large teams. Should start using hands. Should paint like children. Should make furniture. Should make music. Should dance. They should keep themselves away for 5 to 6 days and then see how good they feel. And then the entire year they will be empathetic, they'll be curious, and they will be super innovative. I believe in it.
Fabulous. You know, I tell you one thing. After that Majnubai incident happened, no, something so beautiful he said. He didn't sleep all night, and then he decided to create something, and he sent me the most beautiful thing. It was an image of Picasso, and he says, it took me 4 years. Please.
He says it took me 4 years to paint like a expert, or 8 years to paint like a master.
But
And
lifetime.
a lifetime to paint like a child, which is so true.
Which is so beautiful. And I think somewhere along the line, this childlike curiosity, and I don't say childish, I'm saying childlike curiosity about the world, about how we show up, about how we turn up as human beings is really what is unfortunately needed in today and is lacking, is what I think. What do you think?
Yes. And today, a lot of senior leadership is misunderstood for being slave drivers and not understanding the young person.
Hmm.
So that is when, if you are trained in arts and all that, तुम नरम हो जाते हो. You are marinated. You're saying, okay, I have time for myself, because when you're practicing art, there is a certain amount of vulnerability.
Yes.
You're vulnerable because you don't know what is happening. You're making a mistake. You know. So I had written like a crumpled piece of paper, or a slip of tongue, or a crooked line. All these are mistakes. Only humans can make mistakes.
Yes.
That's why machines generate and humans create. Because we create through that vulnerability and that has to be recognized by us.
Beautiful. Now that we are on the subject of machines and we have touched upon AI, if I was scared, SHITLESS, about AI, what would you tell me?
That's the last thing to do.
To be scared, SHITLESS, about AI? I'm assuming that the audience can't spell at this point.
Yeah, but
not saying it.
that's the last thing to do. It's like saying, I'm scared of the weather. AI is the weather. It's here. It's all pervasive. How we navigate through, it's like a pilot who goes into turbulent climb, right? So she has to navigate through it.
Yes, she has to.
Yeah, so
Give tips, no?
So tips is
What to do?
be absolutely creative. Tap into human emotions. Crack jokes. Be light. Look at the value of your errors. And that's where you will come with ideas. Finally, we are looking at innovation which drive ideas which are new. Because one thing AI does is it takes what has already been done and uses it. But the new ones will be with the ideas you can create new, like the new Gen Z language, no cap.
Now you don't show off your Gen Z language because I'm very dated, okay? But
but that's if now here's the thing: if a new manager, if somebody taps into their creativity, they'll understand and they'll get newer ideas. Yeah.
So celebrate your humanity and vulnerability.
Celebrate your mistakes, your error. Celebrate what you do with your hands
and you turn your weaknesses and your errors into your strength.
Throughout our history, mankind, humankind.
Thanks, huh? Gee, thanks.
Throughout our history, we have only created great things when we have there is a need, or there's an error, or there's something, some mistake, and it's always been like what you said in childlike. We only create when we are in play mode.
Yes.
So we have to play.
I appreciate that you are somebody who really walks the talk, and I'm not saying that simply because you're my uncle and because awesomeness runs in the genes. But the reason why I'm saying it is because you are in a time where podcasting is the way. And you said, ooh, I should do this too. But you said, but I will hit it out of the park because overachiever, Mirzas are like that. You decided to do something called Boatcast. So now before I get into it, why don't you tell us a little bit about what Boatcast is? And then we'll get into the origin story of it.
So it's not, you know what? because I'm a practitioner of art, ये कर सकते हैं, like how I got into Instagram. So I have not done this. The curiosity drives me to do new things.
Right.
So I'm a lousy singer, but I'm sure I'm going to sing a song someday because I have not done it, so I will do it.
Nice.
So that's how I got into podcast. And there's a friend of mine who's a artistic director of a show, and he wanted me to do a piece of art. So I said, podcasting is a piece of art today.
Wow.
And can be it's a medium, and why not do it? But and I'll talk to and it was in Kerala, and the show is called Amphibian Aesthetics, where they were and the show had a name called Sea, as in Samandar, a boiling vessel. So I said, why not talk to intellectuals about the sea and the trade routes of Kerala and all that. And the art part was I wrote podcast and I cut that pod and I wrote Boatcast. So we are doing it on a boat.
Yeah.
And if you look around the world, the histories and civilizations and everything has happened around the boat, around the rivers, and moved inland. So that's how the idea came, and it's doing so well, and I love it. Just being on a boat and talking to people. What is interesting, like we are talking now, I'm nothing about this podcast. नहीं तो तुम बोलोगे कि यार मैं इतना खर्चा करके ये स्टूडियो वीडियो एंड ऑल दैट.
मैं ऐसा कुछ नहीं बोलूंगी, वो बाद में बोलूंगी. हाँ, ठीक है.
No, I'll tell you the difference. Now, if you were sitting on a boatcast with me, we would be talking to each other, and then we would be looking out on and at the and
The vast expanse of the water
Yes.
that lies ahead.
and what happens is you reminiscence. You say, अरे सोच के अरे ये बहुत अच्छा point है, and it's beautiful.
Yes.
And it's moving. It's nice. I enjoy it, and I don't know how it will go, but it looks like it will go.
I think it'll be fabulous because I've seen a couple of episodes, and I mean, really love that stuff.
And the thing is, I just have to ask a question, and then the scholars talk, and they know so much that my next question comes only after 20 minutes, and some 3 questions, and the podcast is done.
How beautiful.
So less effort. This is creativity, actually.
I absolutely, certainly is. Acha, now that we've spoken about creativity, and we are in a time of reels, 40-second attention span of a goldfish, 8 seconds, 7 seconds, 3 seconds, 2-second attention span, and all of that. In a time like this, how does one train students or people to cut through the noise and still stay true to their creativity?
In my podcast, my students and my friends, young friends, I have young professionals
Yes,
who work, and there are 4 of them who.
They're a fabulous bunch of kids. Yeah,
Yeah,
I'm so
they are
moved by
not kids. They don't like being professionals now.
So sorry.
And,
If you're watching, I'm so sorry. Okay.
Yeah, so they tell me that they look at analytics, which I don't get a drift of, and they said this is where people are losing attention. This is a hook,
Yeah.
and this is where you have to end it with, and then you have to say a weird thing and do a weird thing. I'm doing all this, but I'm giving hardcore knowledge.
Yes. Yes, you are.
So it's I'm learning from them, actually. That's the answer to your question. It's and every day is a new learning. Like you're doing this podcast, every guest you meet and every time you are in it's never the same.
No.
You will have a new experience, and I have the same with doing reels. Now coming to reels. In advertising, and this advertising really helped, you were trained to think 30 seconds because we are paying per second.
Yes.
So actually, I don't know why advertising people didn't take to reels so much, but I know why also. Probably because the the people who are consuming reels uh, don't don't want a tagline and a story. They want a story told in a different format. So all that I am learning every day. So and huge mistakes are being made, but it's
But
a
that's
learning.
how we are cooler than AI, because we are
But the
making
learning
big
curve
learners.
is good.
Yes.
The learning curve is good, and I can see it.
Fabulous. I'm going to take a walk down memory lane, and you're still quite fabulous. You're still the bee's knees, but there was a time you were celebrated for some really, really cool campaigns you ran and stuff. Do you remember anything?
Nahi re, Baba. Yeah, we should talk about the better things which will help people, I feel. Which we have already spoken about art and about this and uh, about about cities needing more galleries. Cities needing more people investing in art education. Uh, there are two states uh, which have done well, and you can see the amount of artists and intellectuals they have created and sent across India and across the world. Kolkata, through that huge movement, great writers, great artists, and all that sent across the world after Shanti Niketan and all that. Yeah, to a certain extent, Kerala,
Kerala.
yeah, and other states have done, but if you really see, s- each state should really invest in great museums, art galleries, art walks, discussions. In fact, schools should have serious in art curriculum. Art teachers should be of a different quality. That's my dream. That's my mission in life.
So spell it out now. What is the mission now? What is Zahir Mirza looking to do in the next year, 5 years, 10 years, as an art evangelist, as an innovation leader?
I have realized that art has to be so imbibed, almost we everybody should get art should be discussed at homes. We'll get a better quality of people.
Wonderful.
We should look at people 20 years down the line if we start investing in these things.
Okay, that makes sense. Now take some time to think about this, but you did mention some beautifully big blunders over the last couple of years, and I'm not talking about maybe from the art space, maybe from the entrepreneurship space. Are there a couple of blunders that you want to talk about and share that have helped you tremendously in evolving to who you are right now?
Starting my own agency,
Yes.
I realized was a blunder, but it was good. I learnt a lot. Uh, you as a creative person, you can only create.
Yes.
You cannot look at a PNL, and probably you're also going through the same thing
I am.
at the moment.
Yes. That's
I-
exactly why I asked you this question.
Yes. So every creative person should have a person who manages them,
Yes.
and who tells them, you do not bother about these things, you just create. I will take care of this part. And that person can be creative and or not.
Right.
It's like a first officer. I believe they say that your aircraft and your controls now, and the first officer takes over. So you can, and when the other person is controlling, you do not get into the creative
Don't
process.
micromanage, huh?
So when you're doing creativity, you just should be doing creativity, and nobody should do it. So the mistake was I was worried about paying salaries, and then what happens, it hampers. And are you going to cry?
I'm on the verge, and I'm not going to, but I'll get there. I'll get there.
Yeah. So one should only do creativity and pure creativity, and someone should that other person is a guardrail. So this is what I learned.
Yeah.
Second is what and this my my wife really helped me with it. She said that she understood this business very well. She said that do not build other people's brand, build your own brand,
Beautiful.
which with great resistance, and after great resistance, I took the advice, and it is helping me tremendously.
Yeah, I'm noticing that you're becoming quite like sensational Instagram.
No, but because today it's all about personal brand.
Yes.
People want to listen to this human being, because when we started this podcast, we said, "Ki, you are a broadcaster yourself. You are the brand." So that's how it is. These are two things I really learned. Otherwise, these are, I have zero regrets. Yeah. In fact, I have seen storms. I have seen everything, but I just have enjoyed the process. And there is no spiritual guru-giri or anything. It's just that
Hey,
no.
was that a tana towards me?
No. But it is. See that lovely book, Creativity Incorporated. It's Ed Catmull's book. I can see it here.
Yes.
Now, you see that book. And how Pixar started. It started as a company which was doing imaging for medical MRI, right?
Yeah.
And then somebody said, why don't you do animation? And they did animation. Then Lucas bought it. And then Lucas was going through a divorce and he had to sell it. So he sold it to Steve Jobs. And Steve Jobs was not interested in building it. And that's how Pixar became what it is. So these are journeys which happen by glorious mistakes and glorious accidents.
And so I think I'm so grateful you brought that point up, because really we are in the highlights of reels of our life phase. We want only the good stuff. We don't want to experience the full human experience. And we have signed up for the super deluxe plan. And I keep saying this to people that yes, there is joy, and yes, there is like accomplishment and all that. But yes, there is doubt and regret and some really bad decisions that have led to some great moments of learning. And I'm so thrilled to know that, our minds are on the same track.
So you're a yoga teacher. Can I use that word? Okay. The benchmark of great health is shitting, actually.
We will now cut this part.
No, do not cut this part.
Can you say excretion?
No, I won't say excretion. It sounds...
Voiding your bowels?
You have to have a good crap.
Just say taking a poo, okay? Because I don't know how this is getting now. My heart is going up and
No, but...
I'm telling you, if YouTube flags this off now, sir.
But yeah. I'm saying that isn't it?
Yeah,
finally, you had some book, BKS Science in the other room. It's finally about you. If you don't have that, and you have to...
It's about evacuating your bowels. Now that you're talking about it, it's about evacuating your bowels. It's about balancing your adrenals. It's taking care of your hormonal health.
You cannot say, अरे यार, टट्टी के बारे में हम नहीं बात करते हैं.
हम ये ना ज़ीड ब्लीप ब्लीप ब्लू ब्लू.
नहीं. अरे यार, ये नॉर्मल है. यही प्रॉब्लम है तुम लोगों का. तुम लोग हर एक चीज को सैनिटाइज कर देते हो. ये नए न्यू एज पॉडकास्टर्स ना.
I tell you, my DOP's eyes are rolling inside. Like, what is going on over here today? No, but you're absolutely right. Yes, you're right. Coming down to the crux of it, really, if you are able to have an overall, you take care of your excretory system, you're actually, that goes a long way. And it's all linked. But I'm not going to bore everybody. That's not a conversation for today. But I understand where you're coming from.
Every boy and every man can talk about shitting and farting for hours together. I wish there's a podcast on this. For us.
Which there is not.
Okay.
I don't think I would tune in. I don't think anybody would tune in. Would you guys tune in to this?
They would love to talk. No, they would love to talk and contribute.
She's saying yes. Yeah, Avik said yes, I will. I totally will. Okay, now that we have digressed far into, I don't know which realm we have entered, come back to, let me ask you very basic couple of questions as a student to art teacher. Okay. I'm at the grand old age of 40. You can imagine how old this man is then. If I wanted to take up art now, what would you tell me to do?
There are artists who have been successful artists who have started at the age of 65.
So there is hope for me yet.
So, ये क्या है बकवास? It's like saying I want to learn swimming, and can I learn swimming at 70? You can do anything. Who stops you?
No, nothing is stopping me.
You
I'm saying
know,
what to do.
what is the problem?
Hmm.
Why? The moment you look at your art, you will say, "Oh, this isn't good."
Critical evaluation.
No,
happens.
it is low. You're not in the process. You were in the worrying about the result. It's Gita part. Ma phaleshu kadachana.
कर्मण्यवाधिकारस्ते मा
Correct.
फलेषु कदाचन.
Correct. So, वो result में घुस के, then you will, and it's the same thing. You, when somebody takes your picture, you will say, that's
Maybe.
not.
Yeah.
अरे enjoy that thing and say, ठीक है, we'll take one more. Judge नहीं करने का. The moment you start judging your work, you cannot paint like Leonardo da Vinci. Anybody who copies Leonardo da Vinci's work will not copy it exactly the same. Even if that artist is, except a machine, if it's being done by humans copy art, that will have something different. So you will add things from your life. So you, at 40, you will say, okay, I will paint with that ladle I have put sambar, and I will put sambar on this canvas. So who stops you? So mera and after a point, some ants will start eating your sambar, and something, and art will get created. That is the thing. You can do anything. So the point is doing, and trust me, and try this. Try this. On a Sunday, lock yourself in a room, get large bits of paper, and that's another thing. And work on it. Even lock yourself in a room, do silly things. Say, I'll paint with my nose. For example, I'll dip my paint in the nose and like.
You can, I can't. You have a long nose, I don't. But
Okay,
I get what you're saying.
You have a long tongue.
Are you trying to say what? कैची जैसी ज़ुबान चलती है इस लड़की की.
Okay, so whatever. So you can do it. So you will enjoy the process, and you know what? It is almost a spiritual and a cathartic experience.
I absolutely agree.
And another, and this is where I want to add. You know, we paint like this, but I feel that we should use our bodies. We should use our hand. This is what you learn in art school. Actually, if you move from your arm, it's beautiful.
Right.
Then you can do the little details also. So this is what
I think that's
to
great.
freak out.
Just enjoy yourself, enjoy the experience. And I think I tell you what, I'm so grateful. All the tomfoolery that we've been doing over here, this massive takeaway point is that we are so overly critical before we have even done something. And I think this is a life lesson that I want to take away, that sometimes don't worry about the outcome and put yourself out there. It's okay. People are trained to ridicule, mock, tease, say ye kya hai and all that. You, as long as you are enjoying the experience, let the chips score by them.
Now let me just correct you a bit. It's not to correct you critically. We call this tomfoolery. It's a label. But this is my process.
I think it's a great process. I didn't say it was a bad thing at all.
Yeah. So it's my process, and why people think it's tomfoolery. We have through that we have touched upon very serious issues.
We certainly have.
Topics which will interest people. Yeah.
Okay, I think I have time for just one last quick question, but this is a question that we ask all our guests on the podcast. You can take a moment, since this is ridiculously extempore and, I don't know what's happened here today, but The question I ask is that since this is a podcast that highlights the vagaries of 21st century living and how to hack it, is there one particular hack that you have employed, maybe from the beginning of your learning process or whatever, anything that has held you in good stead in how to lead and live your life?
I follow a rule, which I'm going to give you. It's a hack, and which I share it with a few students, not everybody.
Wow.
हाँ मेरा it I know and I'm telling you as a teacher also. It's I invest in people.
Yes.
Beyond the point, it's like stocks. Beyond the point, I have to drop those stocks.
Correct.
So I invest in people whom I can keep for a long time. They are my long term investments. So I tell people one thing: do not go to sleep without asking myself what are the 5 things I have created this day, and I look at those 5 things. Like today, I will say I have created a podcast.
Yes.
So this ticks that one box. Now I have 4 more things to do.
Mm.
So
That's
even if it means that I did a small drawing with your daughter, and she gave me a new name, which you will not mention. Okay.
it was a light hill, it was light hill.
Yeah, which so that I will add. And that name I sent it to my students, and which they created a meme on.
They created a brilliant meme. I was so surprised.
So see, this is the process. So these 5 things, I sleep with, and what this is also the best part of it is, if I was doing this 25 years back, I had no place to know whether and show this. Today, I immediately put it up on Insta, on whatever is available or social media, and I get a review of it. Yeah, whether it's good or bad. So this is a great hack, and I enjoy it.
Zahir Mirza.
How was the show? But you were worried whether I will be very slowly talking like an old man, doddering old man. Yes, problems tha na. You were worried. Don't lie.
I'll tell you what, this is what I'm not going to cut this part out. I want your feedback. I want your thoughts. I want your comments in this underneath this particular video. Was this an enjoyable experience for you? Do you have any questions for Guru Z over here? Because if you do, I'm going to.
See, ये गुरु जी बकवास है, ये हम लोग ने ऐड किया है, but they all the students call me Z only,
हाँ.
because I have one great line which says that do not and they don't call me sir.
I noticed that.
Yeah, they don't, and they call me Are Ture.
अरे तू क्या कर रहा Z? And I said what?
And that's why they are learning.
Yes.
Because we as teachers, we confuse formality for respect.
बोली तो बोली जैसे
अरे तो कुछ बोल रही थी audience को.
Yes. If you enjoyed this episode, do consider liking. Of course, do subscribe to our channel. I'm going to also request you to subscribe to Boatcast. I'm going to share the link of his channel over here. Do drop your comments. We would love to hear back from you. And if you have any questions for Z about art, about life, about the process, about creativity, don't forget to write to him. Thank you so very much.
And one more thing. If you want us and you like the tomfoolery, we can come and do tomfoolery anytime. Just tell her. And masti karte?
Definitely. I like the idea. I like it a lot.
And we'll call it the family show.
Yeah, clearly, because I mean, this is us only dripping on it.
I want to in this show. Yes. I enjoyed it because very rarely do I mean, two people of the same family who have podcast channels of their own. And it's so nice how we have come a long way, baby.
Yes.
Chalo. That was nice.
Thank you. I love you.
I love you too.
Thank you for watching. I love you too. And we'll see you in the next one.